Welcome to Be Less Stupid, the show for people interested in knowing how the world really works. For people who are fed up getting ripped off, wasting time and making bad decisions because of stuff they don't know. Well, this is the show with information and facts that will save you time, money, energy, emotional capital, and yes, even your life. And if there's time, I'll also reveal if a reverse mortgage is right for you. Spoiler alert, it's not. Today's top story, vibrators. Did you know a new type was recently unveiled, meant to be worn as a necklace? It'll match perfectly with those butt plug earrings that you just bought. But first, when you're stuck in rush hour traffic, are you the kind of person who stays in their lane and just creeps along, cursing to yourself the entire time? Or are you constantly switching lanes, on and off the gas, trying to take advantage of every opening, cursing out loud to every driver that you pass? Or do you think it's faster to get to where you're going, taking the surface streets? If you're like me, you've wondered who is getting to their destination the quickest. Well, I stopped wondering and I did something about it. I ran an experiment on the worst 15 miles of commuter traffic in America. It's on the 405 going north in Los Angeles to the 101 east to the 134. And it's through the most heavily trafficked interchange in America, where more than 300,000 cars pass every day. Some of whom are not being driven by showbiz assholes. Those people are just regular assholes and bad fucking drivers. I got 3 cars, limos actually, because the fucking host demanded it. 15 cameras. We ran the experiment 5 times. 1 car stayed in its lane, 1 weaved in and out of traffic, and the 3rd took surface streets. It's an experiment I did for my other series, This Versus That, a show that's a little like Mythbusters, except instead of looking at fictional stuff like can a ninja walk on water, it looks at non-fiction stuff that actually affects people's lives. After all, I don't know any ninjas. So, if you want to know the best and fastest way to navigate through highway traffic, check out This Versus That. You can find it at adorablepuppies.inc.com. When you get to the homepage, click the button that says See the Shows. Then at checkout, use the promo code SAVE 20% NOW. You will save 20% now, and you will get to see 6 1-hour episodes of This Versus That. But wait, there's more. You'll also get 13 half hours of Pizza with Writers, my interview series with the writers and creators of TV's best shows, including The Simpsons, Conan, Arrow, The Daily Show, Tosh.0, and 24 other fantastic shows. Plus, you'll also get 10 half-hour episodes of the only late-night, not-safe-for-work comedy series, Get Sex Tonight, starring international adult film sensation, Caden Cross. Okay, moving on to this week's top story, which was trending on Facebook. In the late 1800s, the field of medicine lacked today's sophistication, and diseases known today as bipolar, depression, and anxiety, among others, which we now know are caused by increases or decreases or an absence of a multitude of hormones and proteins, and are treated with powerful drugs and intense therapy, used to just be called hysteria. And hysteria, whose symptoms ranged from irritability and bloated stomach, all the way to really irritable and really bloated stomach, affected in nearly all instances just women. Why not men, you ask? Oh, you'll see in just a second. You see, the treatment prescribed to women diagnosed with hysteria was stimulation of the clitoris until orgasm. No, not self-stimulation. Rather, it was stimulation performed by the doctor, by hand, his hand. And when manual stimulation is the cure, you can bet it's also the diagnosis. A lot. Like a lot. You can imagine women walking into the doctor's office and the doctor saying, okay, lift up your skirt. And the woman saying, but doctor, is that how you treat the stab wound in my neck? Now, here's the rub. There was a problem with all that rubbing and stimulating. No, not for the women. Many reported feeling better after they orgasmed. At least the ones whose doctors didn't make that sound like that while they were massaging them. The problem was that with all the rubbing and the massaging they did, doctors' hands got all cramped and swollen and gnarled. They got carpal tunnel syndrome. And seeing an opportunity, one of America's great companies got busy buzzing. That's right. The year was 1902, and that company was Hamilton Beach. The same people that today make kitchen appliances like toasters, popcorn machines, and blenders. Their vibrator became the 5th domestic appliance to be electrified, behind the sewing machine, the fan, the tea kettle, and the toaster. Although in the tea kettle's defense, it could also be the source of an orgasm. But you had to sit on it in just the right position. Also, it helped if the burner was off. Anyway, the device, which cost about $5, was hugely popular and was advertised in dozens of women's magazines, often as, quote, a personal massager. Just like today. I'm talking to you, Brookstone. However, by 1920, early pornographic movie makers were featuring vibrators in their films, and the glow it had acquired as a therapeutic device was replaced by a different sheen, one decidedly more sticky. So Hamilton Beach had to stop making them. Cut to today. Science and medicine no longer prescribe manual clitoral stimulation as a tool to cure serious, biologically caused brain dysfunction, or at least not since Obamacare. The point is that in the last 100 years, medicine and science have collaborated with the likes of Margaret Sanger, who in 1916 opened the first birth control clinic in the US and was instrumental in the 50s in the creation of the progesterone-based contraceptive known as the pill, which allows women to enjoy sex as much as men without having to suffer the consequence of an unwanted pregnancy. In 1965, the Supreme Court gave married couples the right to use birth control. In 68, the FDA approved the use of IUDs. In 72, the Supreme Court approved the use of birth control for all citizens. And yet, today, in the state of Alabama, it's against the law to sell a sex toy. The same holds true for lots of counties in Texas. In Arizona, a woman cannot own more than 2 sex toys. Any more would indicate a plan to sell them, which in that state it's illegal. Even worse, it's been more than 3 weeks since Kim Kardashian posted a picture of her boobs to Instagram. Even worser, in 2015, one Georgia town passed a law that requires its citizens to get a note from a doctor in order to purchase a sex toy. And just last month, Indiana's governor signed the most restrictive anti-abortion bill in America. And even worser still, I can't remember the last time anyone did this when they saw someone naked. I was going to say that we've come a long way since the days of ignorance, where women with serious disease were masturbated by men in order to feel better. But have we? How far is needing a doctor's permission to have an orgasm from a doctor just handling a woman's vagina himself? If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you check out our other episodes as well. You can find them on our Facebook page, on YouTube, on Vimeo, on Daily Motion and Break. Also, if you have any comments, leave them down below, and I will, of course, answer them. And I will see you next time on Be Less Stupid. Thanks for tuning in.